When I was younger, I thought I had it all figured out. I'd seen the movies, read the books, and had countless conversations with friends about what women truly want from men. But the more I lived, the more I realized how much I didn't understand. I was like a man trying to read a map in a language he didn't speak. And trust me, I made more than my fair share of mistakes along the way. Let me take you back to a time when I learned this lesson the hard way. I was dating Sarah, a girl who, on paper, seemed perfect for me. We met at a party one of those random nights where you meet someone who feels like they've stepped right out of a dream. She had that laugh that made the whole room feel lighter, the smile that could soften the hardest of hearts, and a way of making everyone around her feel like they mattered. In the beginning, everything was easy. We clicked immediately. Our dates felt like scenes from a rom-com full of deep conversations, laughter, and a sense of effortless connection. But as time passed, I began to notice the cracks in the facade. It wasn't anything huge, not at first, just little things. She'd get frustrated when I didn't notice how much time she spent getting ready for a date. She'd complain about how often I was on my phone, or how I didn't seem to care about the small things that mattered to her. At first, I thought it was just her being picky. I convinced myself that she was just high maintenance or that I was simply misunderstanding her. But deep down, I knew something wasn't right. I'd find myself getting defensive or shutting down when she'd bring these things up, thinking to myself, why is she making such a big deal out of this? It wasn't until one quiet evening, after one too many failed attempts at fixing things, that Sarah said something that shattered everything I thought I knew about relationships. She looked at me, her eyes filled with a mix of frustration and sadness, and said, "You don't listen to me, and when you do, you're not really hearing me." That hit me like a ton of bricks. I thought I was a good listener. I thought I was doing enough to show I cared. But what I didn't realize was that the problem wasn't just about what I was doing or not doing, it was about how I was showing up in the relationship. I'd been so focused on fixing things, on making her feel better in the moment, that I neglected the deeper needs she had. I thought love was about grand gestures and big romantic acts, but what she needed from me was the small, everyday moments of connection, the moments where I truly listened, where I paid attention to her feelings, where I acknowledged the things that mattered to her. But it was too late. The damage had been done. Sarah and I broke up shortly after that conversation, and while the breakup was painful, it was also an eye-opener. It made me reflect on everything I had done wrong and, more importantly, what I had failed to understand about what women really want from men. And so, I began to do the work. I started listening, not just hearing words, but understanding what was beneath them. I took responsibility for my actions and began to unravel the layers of my own emotional baggage. I learned that a relationship isn't about being perfect. It's about showing up authentically and being willing to grow together. It wasn't until I met Emily that I fully understood what women really want from men, not the perfect man with all the answers or the flashy gestures, but a man who can show up with vulnerability, who can listen without judgment, and who is willing to meet her where she is emotionally, physically, and mentally. Emily was different. She wasn't looking for a man who could solve all her problems. She didn't need grand gestures or extravagant promises. What she needed, what every woman needs, is someone who can be present. Someone who can show empathy, communicate openly, and hold space for her to be herself without fear of judgment. And once I learned that, once I stopped trying to be someone I wasn't and simply started being there for her, our connection deepened in a way I had never experienced before. Now, I understand that every woman is different, but there's one universal truth that I've come to realize. What women really want from men isn't perfection, it's connection, it's authenticity, it's the willingness to listen and grow together. If you're wondering where you're going wrong, I'll tell you this. It's not about being perfect, it's about being present. It's about doing the small things that show you care, whether that's holding her hand when she's had a bad day, asking her how she's really feeling, or simply being there when she needs you most. And most importantly, it's about growth. Relationships aren't static. They require continuous effort, understanding, and the ability to adapt. No one expects you to have it all figured out, but they do expect you to try. They expect you to show up as your authentic self and to be open to learning, to listening, and to becoming better together. The truth is, we all want the same thing: real, deep, and meaningful connections. It's not about the flashy dates or the material gifts. It's about the everyday moments of love, trust, and mutual respect. So if you want to know what women really want from men, Look no further than your own ability to connect, to listen, and to grow with her. So, as I leave you with this story, I want you to think about your own relationships, whether they're romantic, platonic, or familial. How are you showing up for the people you care about? Are you truly listening? Are you present? If not, what can you do today to change that? As time passed, I started to notice a shift in how I viewed relationships. It wasn't just about finding someone to be with, someone to hold hands with through the rough patches or share the highs and lows of life. No, it became about the connection. The kind of connection where you both feel safe to be yourselves imperfections and all. Emily and I had been seeing each other for a few months when we had one of those pivotal moments, the kind where you realize you've crossed a line into something deeper, something real. We were sitting in a quiet coffee shop, just enjoying each other's company, when the conversation turned serious. "Do you think I'll ever be enough for you?" she asked out of nowhere. Her voice was quiet but filled with uncertainty. I looked at her, confused. She was more than enough. Emily was everything I had hoped for in a partner. Loving, intelligent, kind, and driven. She'd made me feel heard in a way no one ever had before. So, I did what I thought was best. I tried to reassure her. "Of course you are," I said, smiling at her gently. "You're more than enough, Emily." But her eyes didn't seem convinced. She tilted her head and sighed, her gaze softening. "You say that, but I don't know if you really understand what I mean. I'm not asking if I'm enough in the traditional sense. I'm asking if you truly see me. Do you understand me as a person? Or am I just someone you think you can fix? Am I someone you just want to love in a way that makes you feel good?" My heart sank a little. Was I really still thinking in those terms? Was I still trying to fix her like I did in my past relationships? The idea struck me like a cold breeze. I realized that, once again, I had slipped into the same patterns thinking love was about making someone feel better instead of listening, understanding, and growing alongside them. "I'm sorry," I said softly. "I think I've been more focused on making things right, on solving problems, than on truly listening to what you need. I want to be here for you not just to make things easier, but to be a partner in the full sense of the word." She smiled, the smallest hint of relief in her eyes. "That's all I want, you know. Just to be seen and heard, and not fixed. Sometimes, I just need someone to hold space for me while I figure things out on my own." I could feel myself starting to let go of the assumptions I had held onto for so long. I realized that true love-real partnership isn't about trying to make someone into your idea of what they should be. It's about accepting them, flaws and all, and creating a space where both people can be fully themselves. And that's what women really want from men. They don't want us to save them. They don't want us to solve every problem they face. They want us to listen, to understand, and to be their partner in the truest sense of the word. Not someone who's always trying to fix everything, but someone who walks beside them, offering support when needed, but not pushing them into any specific mold. I don't think I understood this fully until that moment. Until Emily made me face the uncomfortable truth about how I had approached our relationship. But from that day on, I vowed to show up for her in a different way, one that was grounded in humility, presence, and emotional availability. I started asking myself, how can I show her that I see her for who she is, not for who I want her to be? In the weeks that followed, our relationship grew stronger. There was a shift in how we communicated. I learned to give her the space to talk without jumping in to solve things immediately. I began to ask her questions that opened up deeper conversations about her hopes, her fears, and the things that mattered most to her. Instead of trying to fix, I started asking, "What do you need right now?" instead of assuming. But this wasn't just about Emily, it was a lesson I took with me into all areas of my life. I started to realize that listening wasn't just a tool for romantic relationships. It was something that could improve my friendships, my work relationships, and even my relationship with myself. This was the big change I didn't see coming. I started to see that the more I listened, the more I understood not just Emily, but everyone around me. I began to see the nuances in conversations. I could tell when someone just needed a moment of quiet, when they were trying to communicate something difficult, or when they were speaking from a place of hurt. And by truly listening, I felt more connected to the people around me, whether it was Emily, my friends, or even colleagues. We started to move forward, both of us, with a new understanding of what we wanted from each other. The pressure to be perfect faded. We no longer had unrealistic expectations or felt like we were in competition to fix each other. Instead, we embraced the messiness of life, the imperfections, and the growth. We were partners, equals, navigating this journey together. And in the end, that's what I believe women really want from men: someone who can show up and be real. Someone who isn't afraid to be vulnerable and who can embrace the journey of self-discovery with them. It's not about being someone who has all the answers or who can always make everything better. It's about being present and open, about being committed to the growth of both the relationship and the individuals within it. This wasn't just a lesson for me in romance, it was a fundamental shift in how I approach life. And I realized that this idea of connection, of truly listening, is what lies at the core of everything we crave. Not just from women, but from every relationship we have in our lives. I know that some of you reading this may still be wondering if you're doing enough, if you're showing up the way you should. But I'm telling you this, it's not about grand gestures or perfect solutions. It's about being real. It's about vulnerability, honesty, and growth. If you're still struggling to understand what women really want, or if you're wondering if you're doing enough, ask yourself this: are you listening? Are you truly listening to her? Are you present in the relationship? Or are you too busy trying to fix things that you miss what really matters? And if this story resonates with you, if you see the value in showing up authentically, then like this video, share it with someone who might need to hear it, and don't forget to subscribe to The Modern Stoic. Keep walking the path of growth and understanding, because life isn't about being perfect, it's about learning, listening, and being present. I'll leave you with this final thought. Connection isn't something you find, it's something you build day by day, moment by moment. So start today, listen, grow, and build those connections that will last a lifetime.